Run muted. All right. Hello and welcome everybody to Quack and Smite League Season 4, Week number 1. I'm going to be your host for tonight, Jiren Lamb, and I'm going to be joined by the one and only, the cutest, Mr. Pie Guy.
Why, hello there.
We got the big main man, Neptune, on the camera himself. Big shout out to him. Always love having a good streamer. Makes our lives a lot easier. We're going to go ahead and kick it off with the picks and bans. And we will end up seeing the Geb and the Tiamat going out in the first round. I don't think that's too big of a surprise. Those are pretty solid gods right now. Very high end. What do you
Geb
think, Pi?
is Geb is a really solid support. He does everything you want from CC to the shield. Just super all around, very easy god to play. Everyone should have Geb in their god pool.
I agree. We'll also see the set banned out because I guess they wanted to ban out a mid laner this time rather than leaving it all to the Rockhoppers. And speaking of the Rockhoppers, they'll actually ban out another mid, Persephone.
Looks like they're really targeting that mid lane, that Persephone team at ban
And the set, don't forget the set.
and set.
Although we will see the fifth band come out being Nike, somebody who has seen a little bit more popularity in much more recent days. In the beginning of Season 8, Nike didn't see a whole lot of popularity, and it's taken her quite a while to really feel impactful or relevant.
I
But
feel
now
like
that
she's
she's in,
I feel like she's coming back due to the Sunder buff, where sundering her will only take away half of her shield, so you have to use both charges to
yeah,
fully negate that ultimate now.
especially since they've nerfed Sunder so much. They've nerfed it, what, 3 or 4 times since the change?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They've really hit it hard. So that's another reason I think Nike has really been swinging back. Plus, just her kit overall, it just feels more impactful with the item changes in the solo lane.
And the Uller ban.
Speaking of item changes, another god we've seen a lot more of recently. Now that we've seen more items with the changes to Bumba's dagger and then Crusher being more impactful, a lot of ability-based ADCs such as Oler have been really
Winning
popular.
or losing doesn't matter. We all shall return
Though
to
on the
nature in
subject
the
of
end.
popularity, Artio will be our #1 overall pick in this picks and bans phase. A solo lane god that has seen quite some hefty play. A Guardian in solo is a little bit sleeper if you ask me, but Artio has been very popular for a while, very hard to deal with.
May
She
the
just
gods of
never
Valkyrie
dies, and it's
surround
very tough
you!
to deal with her. Although speaking of never dying, we see Cthulhu
And
alongside an
Odin.
Odin.
So you want to take your picks here? You think it's Odin solo, Cthulhu support, or Odin support, Cthulhu solo?
It could also be an Odin jungle, and I
It
wouldn't
could.
necessarily put it past them to try that, though I do think it's most likely going to be that Cthulhu in the solo lane.
That's fair. That's fair. So it's going to be a Guardian battle in solo lane.
Unless we get switched up on and we end up seeing an Artio in the support, although, uh-oh, Giannis just locked in the Loki. Well, Rockhoppers backline, beware. That is Giannis on the Loki. He's definitely a fan of Loki. I'll put it that way.
I feel like the meta really favors him too with all the recent item
Yeah,
changes. He can
it
just get in
does.
there, one shot somebody, and just walk away.
Yeah, he has a very impactful Loki, to say the least. Very, very good on it. And then we do see Soul being picked up by the Frost Foxes. Soul has been pretty relevant for a while now, but with the recent Stone of Fall coming into play, I've seen a lot more of it picked up, and especially now in league games, it's being built in pretty much every build now that they can.
It's definitely a good item. I know they're going to be nerfing it soon if they haven't already, but I feel like it's still a really strong item. It makes those mid lane mages or your ADC mages just so much better. They're a little bit tankier. They can take those 1v1s against the junglers when they're being dived. A little bit of survivability.
I mean, giving your backliner 18% damage mitigation for pretty much no cost that lasts for 10 seconds and can easily be refreshed almost immediately after. Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good item. Though I'm interested to see how is the Raijin gonna end up going. Raijin, after the recent change to his 3, they nerfed it a little bit. It has seen Raijin take a little bit of a dip in popularity, but he's still definitely a solid god. And the Rockhoppers will opt to ban out a Khepri and Fafnir, with the Frost Foxes banning out the Oleron.
So they must really think that Artio is going to the solo lane if they're going to ban out 2 Guardians.
I mean, it is fair. I genuinely don't think there's anything wrong with assuming it's going to be an RTO solo. It's very hard to deal with, and even if RTO isn't winning lane necessarily, she's still very hard to get rid of.
Definitely an annoying late
You
game
have
god,
yet to
regardless of
see the
which role she
meaning
gets
of
put into.
rule.
True, though we do see a Dodgy picked up, so we see some very powerful team fight synergy coming out from the Rockhoppers. They can very well shut down an RDO with a team like that. Odin Cage prevents any and all healing, Cthulhu just being Cthulhu, Dodgy just locking her down. It's very possible that we could see this RDO have a little bit of a rougher game than they might be expecting.
Definitely sounds like they're going to need a lot of synergy for this team comp to work well.
Very true. So far, the Frost Foxes do have at least a fair amount of pick potential. We see Sol, we see Loki. These are gods that can absolutely generate some pressure. RD is able to just effectively run at them, just be in their face, and continue to be there for quite some time. So it's always a very possible. It's always a
Wisdom
very
shall be my
possible
shield.
chance
I've
that they
got
can
my eye
just
on you.
out pressure in lane and kind of sweep up from there.
The duo lane is going to be picked up by the Frost Foxes. They're going to pick up a Houyi and Athena to round out their draft.
Yeah, Houyi is definitely a very good ADC, especially in more recent meta. He's seen a lot more popularity. Again, with the whole Crusher and Mace tree changes, he's been more popular. And then on the other hand, we see Charybdis. She has had a little bit of a rough start with her release. Wasn't the most popular ADC, but now that she is available, there have been a couple of changes in the meta, and she has found her way into at least a fair amount of games, even seen some play in the SPL. And so far, I gotta say, she's not looking too bad at all.
Oh, she definitely looks better than she did off release. They've gave her a couple buffs, fixed a few things that didn't come out correctly. I think she's playable. I don't think she's the best ADC by any means, but definitely not the worst.
If you have the right mechanics, which these players certainly have more than enough mechanics to back them up on it, I think they stand quite a fair chance to pull it off. Though the matchup, I'm interested to see how it will go. The solo lane matchup, how is that going to turn out in the mid to late game? Since I think it's fair to assume that RDO is going to be a little bit better off against the Cthulhu than the Cthulhu will be against the RDO. And the question is, once that hits level 13, how is that going to fare from there? As they start to rotate a little bit more and they see more of their team, and especially as things such as Gold Fury or Pyromancer start coming up, how are they going to respond to those? Will a Cthulhu be able to just rotate in, and will the ultimate be enough to change the tide of the fight? Or will RDO be far enough ahead that she can essentially just negate that huge team fight potential?
I feel like as long as he can come into these team fights, as long as he's even and come into these team fights and create space for his backline, Raijin and Charybdis can do a lot of damage as long as they're not being dove.
Absolutely. That, but that last part that you just said, being dove, that is exactly what I'm worried about. We see Giannis on his ever so famous Loki. He was running around with that back in season 3. He got it respect banned quite a bit. So it's definitely going to be a game to watch. Giannis is most certainly not afraid to just show up, plunge a dagger in your back and walk away scot-free. Although we do see the Odin in the support lane, just like we thought, against the Athena, generating a lot of pressure, as Giannis ends up picking up a first blood in the mid lane very early on, before a minute, but it will be returned by Kumibumi, picking up the Loki, sending him back to Grayscale for his crimes.
First blood before a minute. Should be an interesting game. Let's hope. Action packed.
I mean, both the Frost Foxes and the Rockhoppers have a pretty solid lineup. Their crew is definitely full of a lot of talent and skill. I have no doubt in my mind that it will be a very, very fun set to watch and cast, and I'm excited for it, honestly. I mean, already a minute and 15 in, we have 2 kills. We see a little bit of dual lane pressure for the Rockhoppers, as they're going to go ahead and invade that Harpy. But with Giannis being in that jungle nearby at the Oracles, they're going to have to be a little bit careful, because that could potentially turn a little bit dangerous.
I'm intrigued in this Charybdis build. He's got Death's Toll, and it looks like he's going into Dev Gauntlets.
I think in anticipation of the upcoming meta that we may be seeing in the next balance update. At least that's my guess as to what it could be. It's very possible it could just rush a Blood Forge, though I don't think it's too likely we'll see that. Would be interesting though.
Bet it would.
What do you think? First item, Blood Forge.
I feel like if you're ahead and you have enough gold when you back, you can just full buy it, but I definitely think in the long run,
Just back at
Devourer's
3
Gauntlet's
minutes.
better.
Just
Yeah.
back at 3 minutes with 3k gold.
You never know, man. Crazier things have happened.
Very true. As we see Giannis picking up the second kill for his team on Kustoki in the solo lane. Yeah, Giannis is starting to get active. Once he gets online with that Loki, it can be very dangerous. As we see Athena getting a beautiful taunt into a stun coming out from the Ricochet on Glacium Vulpes. That was definitely a lot of damage onto the Odin. Unfortunately, he's got pots and he's got health to spare. Kumibumi will be the next victim of Giannis over in that solo lane, trying to defend the blue buff, but it will be in vain.
Definitely not what you want to see. Not even 3 minutes into the kill. Or 3 minutes into the game, Loki's already got 3 kills. Definitely not how you want to start a game.
Did they just leave the totem one hit?
That's upsetting.
My OCD is very much upset. That is a very, very unfortunate situation. That will be beads from the soul, as we see a little bit of a gank coming in. Odin making an early rotation over to help out the Raijin in the mid lane. Soul out of mana, but with that mannequins, her autos are still going to be doing some numbies. We'll have to see how that fares over in the duo lane, though. Will the Charybdis fare a little bit better against Houyi with or without the Odin to help her?
It's definitely an interesting matchup, not one you see a lot. I really like Charybdis' 3. The Ma just gets you out of so many abilities. You can tank anything. It just doesn't matter. You're damage immune.
Very, very true. It's literally just an instantaneous Soul 3 that can also begin a knockup. And there goes Loki with his ult underneath the tier 1 tower. Almost died to the tower, but he will actually live. Daji popping up that Paolao to try and catch him off guard, but he will escape by the hair on his chin. And unfortunately, won't be able to get much out of it. Athena just taunting Daji right back into the fight. And Giannis is just going to go right back to farming. He is 4-1. He's going to be dangerous. Houyi trying to escape a Charybdis, but it will be Icy Orphan who picks up the first kill in the duo lane. Glacium Vulpes going to be going right back to that fountain to think about his actions.
Yes, that answers our question. Who wins the Charybdis Houyi matchup? Looks like Charybdis got the better of that one.
Definitely early on with that Death's Toll, I think Charybdis does certainly stand a chance. Houyi going with that arrow. I'm interested to see how is this going to turn in that mid game though. Once we start seeing those items coming online, will Houyi get some of that pressure back, or will Charybdis be able to just get a little bit of a snowball rolling and just kind of run away with it?
Part of me wants Charybdis to get a snowball because you don't ever really see her do good, but I feel like Houyi's the better hunter in general. Just team fight wise, he's got that massive ultimate. It's super easy to hit giant circles.
Yeah.
Charybdis has more of a skill shot ult that doesn't always seem impactful.
Big smite circles do win games. I think the word I would use is I always felt Houyi is just more of a consistent hunter. Charybdis does certainly have the potential to outperform a lot of ADCs, It's just going to take a much more skillful and delicate touch in order to get there. Whereas Ho Yi is a little bit more simple. He hits you with his 1, he pops ult, and you take a lot of damage. The people around you take a lot of damage. So it'll be interesting to see how it ends up turning out. Charybdis is definitely a god with high potential. Ho Yi is just very consistent in being good. As we see the action breaking out in the mid lane, Paolo being popped as well as Daiko drums to try and escape this onslaught. We see Soul popping Supernova, doing a lot of damage to Raijin, but both of them are now half HP as Daiji is in the backline getting extremely low, trying to run away on the red buff, and it will be Loki who ends up popping the Assassinate to finish off Kumi Boomy. He's not running away from that one.
Oh, I don't think Raijin's very safe in that tower. Oh, Athena missed the taunt. Maybe we'll get away this time.
He will be able to escape with the Thunder Crash. Luckily, just in time, because that Athena was looking at him something dirty. Soul is going to be taking a little bit of damage from the Odin as we see Defender of Olympus coming out to try and help out the Soul. Just a Landlord, definitely going to be feeling a little bit safe right now.
That Loki's still just farming. Didn't back after getting super low. After that team fight, he just went right back in the jungle, healing with that Bumba's dagger.
Bumba Sustain is definitely not anything to laugh at. Though, Ho Yi is now down 2 levels to the Charybdis. Athena's here to help. A little bit of a gank coming out. Unfortunately, Charybdis is going to be able to just walk away. Still has her 3 available. So it'll be a little bit more difficult for them to pull anything out of it.
She ended up going the Devourer's Gauntlet instead of going that Blood Forge, unfortunately.
Sad day.
I know, right? We'll see it. Someone will do it one of these games.
Somebody's gonna do it. Eventually. It will happen. I just wonder who it will be. Cough cough Glycium, you wanna hit your boy up? Oh, there goes Giannis again. Back in the mid lane, picking up another kill. Now 6-1. Is Giannis even farming jungle camps anymore? Is he just running at people and killing them for XP?
I feel like that Raijin is the 7th minion in the minion wave right now. Like he's died 3 times in 8 minutes. He's got 2 wards in his pocket, and he doesn't really have any low wards. Like that Giannis is just walking into a lane in stealth and just killing him. I know you can't see stealth enemies with wards, but if you place it deep enough, you will see where he goes invis from the jungle, and you can just predict when he's going to go on you.
Or just play with a more, well, a little bit nervous mid laner mindset and just assume that Loki is behind you. Though Raijin is in a little bit of a tough spot against a Loki. He does have the Thunder Crash, but it's not soon enough to get him out of most of the damage. Plus, if Loki didn't use ult to engage, he can then just ult, and then you have absolutely nothing to save you.
It
Fortunately,
is such a long channeled ability.
it is. And I think that's one reason why it's going to be looked at for buffs eventually, but unfortunately, it's not able to get him out of Athena taunts, as Josh the Landlord on this Soul is just continuing to throw out damage, and here comes Loki underneath
There's
the tower.
Loki.
He got the Thunder Crash off, but the tick damage was still enough to kill him. Not even the Odin was enough. Sam Cobra, unfortunately, not able to protect his mid laner.
They're still in this tower. There goes Team 1 tower is going to fall in mid lane. Charybdis is rotated over.
Charybdis has rotated over, and with a Soul, we see the Maw Hunger's coming out, getting a huge stun, double stun. Actually, it will be enough for Giannis to take him out, though. He survives by the chin, or the hair on his chin, excuse me, as Defender of Olympus comes out. Odin not quite able to pick up a kill. Unfortunately, the Odin cage did not go down. That was very unfortunate. That could have turned it around. That was a huge double stun from the Charybdis.
Really unfortunate that she was kind of there by herself. I don't like that the Odin still has ult after that team fight.
It is unfortunate. The raw mechanics I saw told me that these are players more than comfortable enough on their god. But to me, so far, it doesn't look like they're talking quite as much as the Frost Foxes are. I feel like they're a little bit more vocal so far in this game compared to their opponents. Whereas We have Frost Foxes playing comp, talking to each other, constant out, calling ganks out as we see one coming into the dual lane. Rockhoppers doing a little bit more of ranked than comp as we see the soul. The Odin Cage does finally go down to save him, but there's not really a whole lot of pressure here. And Giannis will end up picking up a kill onto Kumi Boomy in jungle by the solo side, as we now have a 3v3 here in the duo lane. Odin get ready to jump in with low mana, popping the shield a little bit early, soul popping her 3 to try and escape, disapparate, getting her quickly and safely away from any danger. We
I
see
would have liked to see Odin hold that ult. Like, he ulted to get away, but he walked back into the cage and did no damage. He was just kind of standing there. If he could have held that, that could have been a sick team fight when everyone finally got there.
it could have very well turned around, though we do see the Rockhoppers pulling this Gold Fury a little bit early, as we do see the sun's coming down. Taiko drums being popped, as we see, and Rage Moose picking up Sam Kerber. Maw Hungers will end up getting a huge stun under the Ho Yi. Glacian Vulpes in a lot of danger. He's going to be trying to jump away. Kerberos is continuing to chase him. The two end up picking him off, but it won't be enough to escape Giannis, who is now divine.
Dude, what do you think about this Charybdis build? Death Soul, Devours, Gauntlet, Aussie. And now it looks like he's going to go into a Wind Demon.
Yeah, those crits are going to heal him a lot.
He's definitely going to be healing.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know if I can say it's bad, because if you don't get one-tapped by that Loki, it's going to be extremely hard to kill this Charybdis. Not only does she have the Maw to escape safely and quickly from a lot of that damage, but if you don't one-tap her, she's just going to heal her entire HP bar in like 2 hits.
Oh, definitely. I don't know. The Odin has had some really interesting ults. I feel like he's not been very impactful. These 12 and a half minutes I've been seeing him played. Just starting to think if maybe he wasn't the pick as early as they got him.
The question in my mind is, was that more Odin is open, we got to take him, rather than necessarily Sam Cobra being comfortable on the god?
That is
Because
fair.
Sam Cobra has shown he has mechanics, but he doesn't seem comfortable on the god necessarily.
Like
As we
his
see a
ult
fight being broken out
placements.
over the fire giant Scorpion now. We see Palo being popped a little bit early. Loki coming in with the ult under Raijin, forcing out the Taiko drums as Cthulhu Descendant Madness. He is breaking in some damage as the Odin Cage finally comes down, but it won't be enough. Kami Boomy will end up following to the Honkler, and now Honkler is continuing the chase as the Frost Foxes are continuing to run them down underneath that blue buff. Athena dashing in and taunting. Raijin is forced to dash away. The Taiko drums will be enough to escape, as Cthulhu will end up being the next to fall to the Honkler. He's doing a lot of damage. They can't escape. Loki is forced to back up. Giannis being pretty low HP, less than quarter health, excuse me. But so is Sam Cobra. As we do see a solo kill in the duo lane. Icy Orphan picking up Glacian Volpes once more, now chasing down that T2 tower. Glacium was down 2 levels, but now he's only down 1 level, so he has been doing an excellent job farming. Unfortunately, it won't be enough to escape this Charybdis.
I feel like Charybdis can really chase down that Ho Yi jump with her 3. You know, getting enhanced movement speed. It's just super easy to chase him down through that jump. I feel like he's just getting away through it.
There goes. The Maw's already been popped, as we see Loki pop and assassinate a little bit early, and will be doing a lot of damage to that Charybdis. Not able to survive in time. And that will be an 11-1 Loki. He is farming to the max. And by farming, I mean he built, you know, he he has Hydras and Malice, so he's just kind of shoving his face at people, and it's just working.
It's been working all game. Why change it now?
There's no point to change it up. He's been doing so much damage, and they don't live long enough. He's he's just doing too much damage for them to live. Although we did see it took him a lot more autos to take down Charybdis, just like I thought. That healing is coming in pretty clutch.
There's gonna be a pause here.
It's a good looking pie.
It is a good
Though
looking pie.
That is a delicious looking pie on the screen. Sorry, chat. There was just a brief pause going on in game. But one thing I wanted to look at, Cthulhu opted for Stone of Fall, which it's still a great item, still very hard to deal with, but a first item Stone of Fall. Sometimes you would see them opt for just raw magical defense, or even a pestilence against an RDO, maybe a void stone. Some people prefer mystical, just go in for a little bit of pressure. But I find it interesting to go to a first item fall.
Definitely an interesting pickup. I definitely would have gone magical defense over it, but he he didn't really lose lane, so I can't
Very true.
complain too much about the build. But I feel like he's not tanky enough to help in these team fights. Like they kind of just got ran down on that blue buff, that team fight prior,
Mhm.
and it just didn't seem like he was super impactful.
So far, it's definitely been a great start showing for the Frost Foxes. Rockhoppers are showing a lot of potential. Unfortunately, to me, it does not look like the Rockhoppers have quite the coordination or the shot calling to where the Frost Foxes do, if that makes any sense.
No,
Like
definitely not. They seem
both teams are showing to me that they are more than capable of just 2-0ing the other. They both have enough mechanics to do it. I just think so far in game one, just the coordination and communication from the Frost Foxes is prevailing pretty heavily. Plus,
it's
Loki being 11-1 is also helpful, as he's now forcing Charybdis to retreat from her tier 1.
definitely I'm not seeing any coordination. I also I don't know. This Odin has 13 gauntlet stacks 16 minutes into the game. Definitely don't like to see that.
He did start Sledge,
He did.
so I'm assuming it's just been a very, very late buy. Definitely
Then it
not a good
has
feeling though, but it will be a beat coming up from the Raijin as we see Ardu dashing in. He's forced to retreat underneath the duo side tier 2 tower, and with that Primal Fury spawning very, very soon, it looks like the Frost Foxes very well may just decide to stick around for just a little bit longer and pull the Gold Fury. They're going to be hiding in the mist for just a moment, but unfortunately nobody's quite close enough as they're still over by the purple buff. But now they do see Sam Cobra is out. He's going to end up getting taunted by Athena and do a lot of damage. He did have his shield up, but will it be enough as he drops his ult? We'll see Giannis picking up the Raijin in the backline, and he'll get a double onto Sam Cobra. There will be a dead Odin, and that's now a 0 for 2. Primal is up, and the Frost Foxes are on top of it immediately.
is a
We
free
see
gold
over in
fairy.
the solo lane, the Rockhoppers are looking at that Fire Giant. Do they have enough damage to go for it? Will Charybdis be able to shred it quickly enough? We do see the Wind Demon is up, but will the crits be enough in time? We see Ardio racing in from the mid lane to try and stop it. Cthulhu taking a lot of damage for them. Dodgy, and the Charybdis will be enough! The Rockhoppers traded the Fire Giant.
No, as long as they can all live and leave with this fire giant, it would be pretty big.
We do see Descendant of Madness and Palo being popped to survive that Loki ulting in. Assassinate not quite able to do enough damage to one-tap them. And they do survive with just a sliver of HP, though they won't have their ultimates for this next engagement.
I think it was a smart fire giant call, not because everyone was on their side of the map, but now they just delayed the game another 5-10 minutes to try to get back into this game. It's only a 3,000 gold lead, 3,800. So hopefully they can get back into this with that time that they just bought themselves.
They did end up losing the Primal Fury, but they did still get a hefty amount of XP and gold from the Fire Giant. Plus, the jungle, ADC, and solo now have that extra sustain and damage that will most certainly help them fight a little bit more effectively. And honestly, I think that's perfectly fine. So far, Raijin has been getting singled out by Loki pretty harshly. He's not having the greatest game of his life. But, I mean, it is Raijin into Loki. That does tend to happen. Odin,
Definitely doesn't feel good to be 0-6.
yeah. An Odin support, not your damage dealer. He's there to just build cooldown and just ult. Just
Which he does not
basically
have a
sit.
lot of cooldown.
That is true. He doesn't have a whole lot of cooldown. Maybe he'll build it next. Though it does look like he's opting for a sovereignty.
I
I
would
believe
like to
that's a
solve.
sovereignty. So Sov wouldn't be bad. Some cooldown next would also be pretty handy, but we'll have to see how it goes as we see them diving in. We see a very early beats from the Raijin. Loki just appeared and he wanted to get out of that. The stealth coming in, he's racing in. There comes the ult assassinate on to Raijin and he will end up falling. We see godlike on the Giannis as we do see Paolo drop to Kumibubu. It will end up trading Giannis's life out though. And now the chase is on. The Frost Foxes are trying to run away. Odin holding or already ulted, so he doesn't have it for this engagement. Cthulhu doesn't have it just yet, as Kumibumi will end up picking up a kill, but it will be Josh the Landlord who ends up picking up a return kill. It's now 2 for 2 so far. Cthulhu behind the tier 2 along with Odin, but they're a little bit lower on HP, and now it will be the Artio chasing them down. Odin won't be able to get out alive. Josh the Landlord picking up his double kill. And now Athena is going to be ulting in. Defender of Olympus coming out on top of the bear. Will they be able to bear the damage as he's charging in? We see Descendant of Madness finally up and being popped. This could be a great turnaround. Athena very, very low along with that Artio. They're not going to be able to heal quite enough to survive that. And so, Josh the Landlord is going to be a little bit on his own for a minute. Will he be able to survive that Charybdis? Athena jumping in to taunt once more, throwing out a little bit of damage. Artio racing back in to continue the fight. Great turnaround. Josh the Landlord will end up picking up Icy Orphan. That will be a beautiful return kill.
It feels so bad as a mid laner to die with your ult up on cooldown. Like, I've seen Taiko drums come out maybe 3 times this entire game just because Loki is hitting him that hard. He doesn't get a chance to dash away or go up into those Taiko drums.
Yeah, he's just dying so quickly. There's nothing else to be done. Not even B's Aegis is going to save him, since there's cooldowns on that. That does exist, so he can't just pop it all the time. Though we do see Paolo being used quite frequently, we'll end up seeing Soul pop the beads early to try and fight for this, or Pyromancer, excuse me, but it will be the Rockhoppers who end up securing it. Now
Giannis
just
did
gonna go
ult
ahead and
out.
back on. This is also true. He did ult out, so he won't have it to just take out the the Raijin in one shot. Though they're just opting to go ahead and back off. We've definitely been seeing a lot of action in this game so far, but the real question is, will the late game team fights be enough to turn it around? What do you think?
I don't know. Because the way I've seen this game go for the last 21 and a half minutes is Loki ults in, insta kills Raijin, and the whole team falls apart because there's not that high burst damage right there to either, secure kills or just do half of the health bar. Loki is annihilating the mid laner before he gets any damage off. Then Cthulhu doesn't create the space you want your solo laners to create in these team fights. So their backline for Josh the Landlord's team is just running at them. They don't have any, like, Daji's not going to dive. Everyone's trying to run away from this team. There's just no surviving.
Yeah. Earlier, I was thinking the huge team fight coming out from the Rockhoppers versus the great pick potential coming out from the Frost Foxes. I think it is a little bit of that pick turning into a snowball, as we do see Defender of Olympus coming out to try and escape the Paolo coming out from Daji. Now Fire Giant is up and it is available. Unfortunately, a lot of the Rockhoppers have popped their ult, so they won't have it for this one. We'll have to see. Will that low HP bar forcing the Athena to back up early? Will it be enough? Odin is going to go ahead and start it. Charybdis is dropping some damage onto the Fire Giant. They recognize that it's up. Frost Foxes are trying to take out some of the wards around so they can try and get some pressure back in. But Loki is on the backline targeting the Charybdis this time. Raijin dashing in to try and stop him. He's forced to ult out. Assassinate being used as an escape tool this time. But it's Cthulhu taking a lot of damage in the backline. Athena and Soul dishing him out to half HP as we see Hoyi popping ult to try and create some more pressure and space as we see Giannis picking up Kumi Boomy in the mid lane. That will no longer be a Daji available for your team. And the chase is going to be on now. They're going to be running straight. Supernova coming out on top of a Odin. We'll see Descendant of Madness and Taiko drums being popped to try and just peel and create enough space for them to back out of that one safely enough. Artio is going to opt to go ahead and back. They don't want to pull the Fire Giant just yet. Loki isn't there in time. He's going to go ahead and steal some farm, heal up, and most likely they'll be starting it very, very shortly. As we do see the Frost Foxes go ahead and circle around that Fire Giant. The Rockhoppers are going to try and get some space back in there. Will they be able to steal it away? Will the Frost Foxes secure it?
Doesn't look like they were going to try to contest. All of them are heading over towards that Gold Fury. Hopefully, they can try to trade that one out before anyone notices.
They recognize they didn't quite have enough pressure or damage to do enough to get that Fire Giant, so they're gonna go ahead and trade the Gold Fury. Sadly, it's only a normal Gold Fury and not like a Oni Fury, but at least they do get something. As we see a blink on it from Giannis picking up Sam Cobra. He got caught. Very unfortunate situation. Raijin now in danger. He's gonna be dashing away. Giannis not popping ult this time. He's going to play a little bit safe. Charybdis is there at the purple buff, but Defender of Olympus is coming out, and he's charging right back in, and it will be right on top of this Cthulhu. He's already half HP. There comes a
Oh
double
my.
stun with Assassinate. Beautiful pickup kill onto the Raijin. He's going to go in right back to Fountain once more. Cthulhu is now getting some help from Charybdis, dropping some damage. Daji is going to be fighting the Loki, but it won't be enough. Enraged Moose will end up getting the credit for that kill onto Kumibumi, and it will be a double back for the Rockhoppers now, with only 2 members left alive.
I'm not sure why they're trying to take these fights. Like, Raijin's level 16, and he's just. If he sees Loki, he's probably dead. He's not really outrunning the Loki. Between the movement speed and the one and his ult, you're not outrunning the Loki.
I see Dre in chat. Redeemed, highlight my message. I bench for the winning team.
Congratulations.
Don't worry, Dre. You're still the winner in our hearts. But returning back to the action, we do see the Frost Foxes did take out the tier 2 tower in mid, and now they are throwing out some pressure onto the mid lane Phoenix, but they are going to be opting to just kind of create a little bit more space, play it safer. They're going to be heading towards that T2 tower in the solo side. Will it be enough to just quickly sweep out that tower? Or
I don't want.
will the Rockhoppers throw up a good defense?
I definitely do not want to see the Rockhoppers try to defend this tower. Like, maybe soft defend it, throw a couple abilities, but once they go on the tower, you just disengage.
Yeah, once they have a soul in Hui, you're not going to be able to save that tower, and it will be the Artio getting Defender of Olympus popped out. Paolo being popped on the Loki, but closer to mid lane here. Definitely going to be a dangerous situation for him, and he gets a perfectly timed ult to escape that pull. Beautiful use. As we see Supernova dropping the Raijin, he won't be able to do much. Cthulhu popping Descend into Madness as he hits a 4-man knockup, forcing them to back off a little bit and creating a lot of space for his team this time. Definitely putting out a lot of damage, but it won't be quite enough. We see Loki end up getting right through those doors, and now he's looking to try and take out the Charybdis, but Charybdis and Daiji are both aware of what's going on, but he gets a big crit, 794 onto the Daiji. You're gonna have to run out of that one. Kumibumi not able to defend as the solo side Phoenix will end up falling to the Frost Foxes. And now the chase is on. They're diving straight into the Titan's lair. Giannis picking up another kill onto Icy Orphan. He's gonna be going back to Fountain for another 55. And it will be Glacian Popaisu ends up picking up Kuz Toki. He will end up falling as now the fight is on for the Titan. Doing a little bit more damage. The Rockhoppers are trying to defend it with only Kumibumi and Sam Cobra with the Raiden just now spawning. It won't be enough. That's a lot of damage for them to try and handle. Unfortunately, the Frost Foxes just have a little bit too much. Taiko drums won't be enough. The Titan is down for the count, and we see a game number 1 victory for the Frost Foxes.
You know, that Loki went out of control. There was no stopping him. Unfortunately, Raijin didn't have the best showing. You know, the Odin just couldn't peel a Loki off of Raijin at all. Super unfortunate game.
Definitely a big showing for the Frost Foxes. They came out to make a statement in this game number 1, and I like to think that they did.
Oh, definitely. No, they looked really solid. They looked like they played like a team. I did not see that from Sam Cobra and the boys. They
Somewhat funny you
didn't.
say that because the jungler in the mid, Giannis and Josh were on the same team last season.
Well, it looks like some of that synergy carried over because they definitely played really well together.
They definitely have a lot of synergy. They've been gaming together for a while. Definitely a duo to watch out for. But we're gonna go ahead and take a brief little break as we get set up for the game number 2, and we will be back to you shortly.
Okay.
Let's go. We got game number 2 coming up for the Quack and Smite League friends and family. Welcome back to QSL Season 4, Week number 1. I'm still your host, Jiren Lam, and this is still the man, the myth, the legend, the cutest Mr. Pie Guy.
How we doing?
We're going to be going right back into picks and bans for game number 2. We saw a pretty bold statement coming out from the Frost Foxes in game number 1. There's the Loki ban. Yep.
Nope.
Yep. I kind of expected to see that. Yeah. Geb being the ban from the Frost Foxes. Not too surprising. I can't really say I'm too surprised about that one.
Nope. Definitely Ban Geb. Still a good god. Nothing changed.
Nothing wrong with banning Geb. He's right now he's pretty safe. Nothing wrong with that. We'll have to see who are they gonna opt to ban next though. Who's gonna end up being the second and third bans? As we see Tsukiyomi will be the next ban from the Rockhoppers. Focusing out the
Obviously,
jungle, huh?
they're intimidated by the jungler. After 19 and 2 showing, I feel like I'd ban some junglers too.
Very true, very true. RDU will end up being the ban from the Frost Foxes. RDO is just RDO. No. Gilgamesh will be the next ban coming up from the Rockhoppers, and Odin will be the final ban of the top 3. Odin's definitely annoying. That ult is always painful to deal with.
They left Tiamat open. I wonder if we'll see a
Tiamat,
Tiamat.
Cthulhu, and Morgan are all still open.
But they picked a Persephone. No, they're hovering it.
However, Persephone is fine. Persephone is definitely a pretty solid mid laner, and there isn't a Loki to just one-tap them this game, so we'll see. But they
They switched to the Kepri.
switched to Khepri. Interesting.
And the Persephone will get locked in
For Josh the
for the
Landlord.
Foxes.
Interesting.
On with. They're hovering the Cthulhu. Do they want it on this team there this time, or
That's oh, they switched to a Nike. Nike's still decent right now. Definitely, definitely not a bad god. I would have loved to have seen the Cthulhu and Morgan get locked in. That would have been pretty spicy, if you ask me.
that would have?
Kwong, the Kwong,
And a Wheelix.
and a Wheelix. Uh oh, is this Kwong solo? Is Kwong solo to counter the Nike? Is that? That's I don't know. I mean, you know what? I'm just not gonna say anything. We'll see how it goes. Kwong Solo. Please tell me this isn't actually Kwong Solo. This is
Definitely Kepri solo. Alcon support.
unless it's Kwong ADC. Kwong ADC.
Yamoja being picked up
Yamoja.
by the Foxes.
Tremble beneath the waves.
Yamoja's definitely a solid support pick right now.
But she does take quite a bit of skill. She's not just everybody plays
Very
her.
true.
If you
Very
know
true.
play her correctly, she's kind of just a walking minion that can do some cool stuff.
Yamoja in the wrong hands feels like that one kid at the beach that just keeps splashing everybody for no reason. Nobody knows who the parents are. Am I the only one? Am I the only one who thinks that?
And it can't build a sandcastle, so he just smashes other ones. Not that kind of kid. You're not wrong.
Going into the the next set of bans, though, we see the Frost Foxes banning out Uller and Tiamat, and then the Rockhoppers will get rid of Fenrir and Susanoo, banning out 5 junglers. They're very intimidated. Okay,
Well,
that's
Gilgamesh and
very interesting.
Fenrir can be some flex picks over to solo or support.
Gilgamesh ADC.
Yes, Gilgamesh ADC. Just bring back the animosity build and just go Gilgamesh ADC.
Yeah, animosity is kind of nuts, but I don't know if you need it. It's definitely not bad.
No, after all the nerfs, it's definitely not to play, but like unnerfed animosity is just goes burr.
I mean, if you don't have to get a starter early on, not necessarily in Conquest per se, but just overall, if you can pick up Animosity late game on a god like Gilgamesh, kind of swings. See who the next picks are, as we're waiting on the Frost Foxes to go ahead and lock in whoever it is that they want the most. And Hachiman will be the one hovered and locked in. Hachiman is definitely a very safe ADC right now, and they do want to avoid the jumps like the Hou-Yi, because, you know, a Wheelix.
Oh, very good. Hachi's also a very safe hunter as well.
Yeah.
I put him up there with Jingwei on safeness.
He's definitely very safe. I don't like to compare Hachiman to Jingwei because I actually think Hachiman is respectable, but
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. That horse does get you halfway down the lane. Like that's.
I mean, yeah. But then again, Jingwei, you literally just get back to lane instantly, so, you know.
That's fair.
It's
I mean,
literally a free Heim Bifrost. Like,
I mean, you could just
oh,
Hachi horse to lane. I mean, that'll get you back there quickly too. But
exactly.
Disco and Izanami picked up for the Rockhoppers here to round out their draft.
I do like the Ravana though. Ravana's very, very solid right now, very safe. Puts out a lot of damage. Nothing wrong with that, I think.
Yes.
Wait, stream can't hear you, Nup, can they? I was just gonna make sure. I was like, wait a minute. Mr. Pie is trolling me. Had me double check, and I was like, wait a minute. Oh, we're violating stream rules, guys. Come on. Pie, you're trolling me.
I didn't do it.
Ignore
Wasn't me.
him. Ignore him. He's Canadian. Ignore him. He doesn't
Yeah.
exist. Shh. It's okay. It's okay.
I
They're
got
not
you.
real. They can't hurt you. They can't hurt you. They can't hurt you. Shh. It's okay. But going into game number 2, whose draft do you favor more?
Based off of draft, I like the Rockhoppers. I feel like they got something spicy going on. But after watching game 1, the Frost Foxes just, I mean, they ran game 1, so hopefully we get a more balanced game this game. But I like Rockhoppers draft in general. I'm a fan of spicy things.
We do have a Kwang Solo, so I think we can classify it as a little bit of spice.
I like to see the how Sam Kerber switched it up. He went from the Odin that couldn't peel at all to the Kepri, who should, in theory, peel.
We'll see how it ends up turning out. Odin was definitely a decent pickup, because that cage really can make a difference, and it can very much turn a fight in their team's favor, but it just didn't quite work out. So we'll see how is Kepri going to switch it up with that Scarab's Blessing. Will it be enough to save his teammates?
Interestingly enough, he did go Sunder as his first relic here.
Very unusual, I must admit. Although we do see Enraged Moose picking up the beads. He's playing a little bit safer on the emoji here. Definitely wanting to keep safe.
He's definitely a very punishable Guardian, just like Sylvanas. If you can punish her out in the early game, behind Umoja does not feel good. Does not feel good to be behind on Umoja.
Very, very true.
We will see the Alquang solo, though. So we'll see
It's
how
going to
this
be a
goes.
very quick clear of the blue buff, so maybe that extra lane pressure will be enough to give him an advantage, but we'll have to see. Nike is a little bit more consistent than Kwang Solo, but obviously these are some pretty solid players because Toki may very well end up turning it on our heads. Taking a lot of damage though, Nike putting in the numbers in the work.
I really want to focus on this.
Oh, that was Izanami. I thought that was a Hachiman. I was like, wait, why why is it just looping? I thought the auto animation on the Hawk. Cause Toki picking up the first solo kill on the Honkler. Honkler got cheesed by the Kwang solo. Oh no, he's not gonna hear the end of that one for a while.
No, that's definitely rough. Ooh, Discordia is so close to picking up the Ravana there. It's a little lightly up. I want to see Per Bang not die on cooldown like he did on the Raijin. Like, they do
Definitely
have a
wasn't
sub this
the
game.
definitely
Per
wasn't
Bang is
the
now playing
greatest
instead of
join, but
Data.
yeah, definitely wasn't the greatest join for Data. I hope everything is going all right, no internet troubles, but we do have Perbang here to fill in for him. We'll see how that ends up turning out. Will it? I mean, Giannis doesn't have the Loki, so they don't have to worry about that. Just one tapping the Discordium. But Ravana is still more than capable of hitting Disco pretty hard. We'll just have to see. Will Perbang have a little bit more safety in their play, as we see a very early rotation from the Khepri already in the mid lane.
I like it when supports rotate out early. That gives more farm to your ADC and hopes that your ADC can carry. You know, Icy Orphan looked really good last game, even though the stats didn't prove it. He did get 2 solo kills. He hit several of those ults. Too bad they just weren't impactful because he was the only one in those team fights. So I'm hoping he can do something here on this army.
He did hit a double and a triple stun, so and the Maw Hungers isn't exactly the easiest ability to hit out of all of them, I must say. Blinken coming from a Wheelix in the mid lane. We see a Thunder coming out from Khepri. Kumiboom will end up picking up a kill on to Josh the Landlord. And it's now 3-on-1 on to Ravana. Giannis is going to be in a little bit of trouble. He is going to have to retreat. We do see both charges of Sunder for Sam Kripa down as Kustoki picks up another solo kill onto the Honkler. Honkler getting his buttons honked for him. He's not looking good now. He was definitely looking really solid in game number 1, but now the Kwang cheese is just too much for him. And there comes the gravitational pull onto the Emoja. We do see beads being popped as well.
That was
and
awkward.
it will be Kumibumi who ends up picking up Glacium Volpes.
Emoji just beads her own bubble so she didn't get knocked up. That's awkward.
Very, very awkward. Did have to pop the beads to escape from the gravitational pull as well, though.
It was after she already got pulled. Like, she beads so late, it didn't matter.
A little bit of
Still got out,
mistake.
though.
Lived. She lived. Unfortunately, the ADC did not. That's always a terrible feeling as a support. When you live, but your ADC doesn't. It's like you lived, but at what cost?
You might as well just die together at that point.
I mean, slightly less XP for the other team, but
No. It's ride or die duo lane. You either win together or you lose together.
we ride together, we fly together, we die together. Bad boys for life. I really hope somebody in chat understands that reference. If you're not getting that reference, you're too young. I'm sorry, we're too young.
It happens.
Big unfortunate. Nobody's talking about it in chat. Okay, Rigid Red. Thank you. Somebody's seen it. Thank you, Rigid. I appreciate you. Pie Guy is just sitting here silently seething at me.
Yeah,
for it, so...
dude, I got the dumbest smile on my face right now.
Your Moja caught by the Khepri Pluck, and Wheelix will end up jumping in, but a great stun will get him out of that situation. A nice stun from the Discordia. Now they're going to be forced to back up underneath that tier 1 tower, as now the red buff invade is coming out.
There's a 2-level lead in solo and in jungle for the Rockhoppers here. It's a nice turnaround from game 1. I'm liking the early pressure. Oh. Hachi just got wombo comboed.
Very unfortunate situation for Glacium Volpes there. The gravitational surge was a little bit too much for him to handle. He just couldn't take the gravity of that situation, and now he's going to have to spend his time in grayscale wondering about it. We do see the red secured by the frost boxes, though, but unfortunately, Enrage Moose taking a little bit too much damage. We see both her and the... I forgot her name. Josh the Landlord popping his ult as well.
I appreciate the emoji grabbing the red buff just to die with it.
Very unfortunate. But we do see Giannis just jumping in to go for the kill. We'll end up picking up Icy Orphan, but Kumibumi will end up getting another kill for himself. He's now 5-0.
Looking a lot like the Giannis game last game, except the roles have inversed. Wheelix now has 5 kills in 6 minutes.
Definitely looking good. And overall, and a Wheelix being ahead is always a good feeling.
Oh, definitely. Of course, no jungler really feels good from behind anyways.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. Just out of all the jungles that you could get ahead, a Wheelix is not the worst, I must say.
Definitely not.
Definitely a good feeling. Especially in the early game. Always handy. And being able to shut down the Ravana as well. Ravana can turn very dangerous, so it's always, especially with what Giannis just did last game, Toki catching a gank this time as 4 people showing up to shut him out, though. He's not going to be able to live this time.
Definitely not. I'm interested to see that the Nike's been soloed twice now, but didn't buy defense. They decided to go with a Jotuns.
Will it be enough? I mean, relying on the damage mitigation from the Sigil, it does give you some extra defense. It does help you tank a little bit more. But will it be enough? Is the question. Because that is a Kwang with mannequins into first item Typhon's Fang. I don't know
Maybe
if
he
it'll.
thinks
I don't know if
you
it'll
can
be
match
enough.
damage with damage.
I don't think Nike has enough damage though.
You're not wrong, but maybe that's his thought process. I don't know what's going on in his head.
I mean, the cooldown is great. That's never a bad thing. It'll help him keep up. I just don't know if it's the play that'll win. Perbang will end up picking up the kill on Lemme Giannis. The Golden Apple of Discord will get the kill as well after he jumped over the wall with Mystic Rush. As now the Gold Fury is up and the Rockhoppers are going to start it right away. They are trying to get whatever gold and XP they can. They saw how well the Frostfoxes did in the previous game, so they definitely want to make a statement this time.
The Frost Foxes knew that they couldn't contest that, so they just gave it up for free. I would have hoped they would have. I mean, they did get the Team 1 tower in solo, but I was hoping they would have got a little bit more on the solo side. Maybe done the Scorpion or something, but
Would you mind showing us wards placed production? Just want to check something real quick here. We see, yeah, a lot of words coming out from the Rockhoppers. Not too many coming up from the Frost Foxes. Because we got Dre in chat calling ward diff. They just don't know when the ganks are coming in. I mean, it's an Awilix. You gotta play a little bit safe too. A 5-0 Awilix at not even 10 minutes in. Definitely in a good spot for the Rockhoppers. Plus, there's
Izanami's
also the
up.
fact that they're like several K gold ahead, so you know.
Izanami's up a full item over Hachi. That just
Yeah,
doesn't feel good.
that is not a good feeling at all. Definitely going to be sitting in a good position if you are a Rockhopper stan. They've most certainly taken the lead in this game.
It's nice to see him bounce back, because after a game like Game 1, that could really kill some players' mental.
Yeah. And we see Izyorf picking up Glacium. Volpe is between the tier 1 and tier 2 towers. We got the rest of the team racing in as a counter rotation, but will it be in time? Mr. Grush will be dropping it off first. Skib's busting coming out to try and save the Izanami. Will it be enough as we do see Persephone popping Herald as well as Rivers Rebuke from Yamoja. Golden Apple of Discord will end up finding Giannis as he picks up the first kill onto Icy Orphan. And now the chase is on to Willix. A beautiful blink coming out from Giannis to escape, but he's going to be taking a lot of damage from the Discordia jumping in. Kumi Booming will end up picking up the kill onto Giannis as now Persephone is retreating underneath the tier 1 tower in the duo lane. Josh the Landlord not going to be able to fight too much longer. And now they're
Definitely,
going right over to that solo side Scorpion.
I'm
As we
definitely
see
interested
Hunker trying to farm up. Sorry.
in why Izanami didn't walk under the tower to proc the Kepri passive to get more health than she already had. Like, she just kind of sat there at 1 HP on the tower line until a Kepri buff ran out, and then she died. was just a
She didn't
really
want it.
interesting play. Didn't want it? No,
She didn't
she
want
doesn't need help from anybody. She's a strong, independent woman.
Once again, going into that Death's Toll, just a lot of lifesteal build, but this time on Izanami.
Looks like Hachi's gonna copy the same build too. Gonna go that Death's Toll, Devourer's Gauntlet into probably an Aussie.
I don't know how I feel about Hachiman going that build. Hachi is still definitely good with crit, but
Looks like we're gonna have a quick pause here.
don't you worry though, Chad. We'll be bringing the action right back to you soon enough. We just gotta, gotta take a brief little break, take a sip of water so you can just listen to our beautiful voices. Specifically, this guy over here, Mr. Cutest Pie.
I don't know, man. I like hearing your voice quite a bit.
What do you say, Chat? Would you take a bite of this pie? What do you say, Chat? No? Would you taking it? Unfortunate. We'll see Izanami jumping in on Glacian Volpes once again as we return to the action. We'll pick up a solo kill
Just
underneath his
auto them.
tower. He was
Just
trying to fight it. He did not want to go, Mr. Stark, but unfortunately, he's going to be going right back to Grayscale. Excuse me. We see them contesting now over this Pyromancer. The Frost Foxes don't want to give it up. The Rockhoppers, excuse me, are getting a little bit of pressure. They got the damage to fight it. They got the levels. They're definitely going to be in a good situation for this next fight. We do see Giannis trying to wrap around the back as we see Persephone popping out an early ult. We see Joshua Landlord pick up the first kill on Sam Cobra. Nego end up getting ulted by the Wheelix though. Not the target that she wanted, I'm assuming. Frost Foxes do end up securing that Pyromancer as the fight continues. They're now going to be chasing Rivers Rebuke, popping out on the Ao Kwang. And it will be Kustoki in a little bit of danger as he's very low on HP, but so is Joshua Landlord, and there will be the execute. He'll end up falling. We do see Golden Apple of Discord come out as well. But Discordia is still in some danger, trying to escape. Will the Kustoki jumping right back in be enough to save him? Both of them are less than quarter HP. Nike is jumping. A beautiful blink coming out from Kustoki will save him from
nice
the
blink.
jump. That was perfectly timed.
I like how neither one of the ADCs went over. They just kind of sat into a lane, at least that side of the map, and just kind of farmed, did their own thing.
Well, I mean, now they're rotating.
Yeah,
That's
2
what
minutes too
counts.
late.
No, the fighting stopped. This is the perfect time for them to rotate.
Is it? Yeah, that was such a good rotation. He got three archers. Good rotation.
Well, it's the thought that counts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least Tachi was able to get some farm out of it. Got that full wave, Huge, huge rotation. Before we know it, he's going to be out-leveling that Izanami.
Yeah. No, he's down 2 levels, so let's hope he can catch back up.
He was in the same situation last game, and he did make some pretty decent progress. He was farming quite effectively, but without his tier 1 already, it'll be a little bit more difficult as the Rockhoppers are shredding through that Primal Fury.
Just increasing the gold lead at, what is it? 4K gold lead?
Was that 4.4? Production?
Yeah.
Production? Can we show gold lead, please?
4.4 was pretty close. It looks like there's gonna be a team fight here in mid.
Got a lot of people grouping up for that mid T2 tower, and we see a lot of damage coming out early. Golden Apple of Discord not quite on the mark, and it will be a continued engagement from the Kustoki. There's not a lot of damage. That solo Quanger Banger doing quite a bit for his team. He's putting in some value. But the Disco is also getting in that damage. He is top damage. So we'll have to see how that continues going on. Honkler doing a lot of his own work, though. He may not have fared so well in lane, but the Rivers Rebuke will help him out. Disco getting a huge strife onto them, but it will be the Persephone ult who ends up doing a lot. Mystic Rush will be forced to pop. Giannis has to get out of there to avoid the crits coming up from Izanami. and it will be Icy Orphan who picks up the Honkler. And now we see a beautiful Blinken coming out from Kimbumi, who will end up picking up Enraged Moose, getting a beautiful pull onto Josh the Landlord, who bait out the beads and the kill for Icy Orphan, who gets the credit.
This
And
Hachi's
now,
just chilling over there in duo lane, just kind of watching his team die. Yeah, he has to get
he
that
knows his
tower.
mission.
It's required by law that he gets this T2 tower now.
Especially since we see the Rockhoppers already on the Fire Giant. It's already half HP. There's no way any of them get anywhere near it in time. That will be a Fire Giant buff for the Rockhoppers. Kuz Toki also made it in time to save the tower before it took even a quarter of his HP.
Hachi sat over there and pushed a wave into a tower that got defended. That was all he did with that time instead of helping in that team fight.
Very, very unfortunate. Glacium Volpez not having the best game of his life right now. But his team did certainly have a very impactful showing in game number 1, so we'll just have to see, will it be enough? Will they be able to make up for it a little bit later on?
This gold lead just keeps expanding. Sitting at 6k gold lead now.
They are just continuing to ramp it up. Nothing wrong with that. Rockhoppers are just continuing up the farm. They have quite a hefty lead against their opponents. There's nothing wrong with wanting to keep it up. They're just going to put the pressure wherever they can. Although, since they do have the Fire Giant grouping up to take out those towers, as we see the pings coming out, will be a good idea. And here they
Definitely clear all the towers out before you push for Phoenix. Just
come.
an
Nah, just
easy
push. No,
first.
push for Titan with 4 towers up. It's fine.
Yeah. Not end game with the towers up.
Ooh,
That's the
that
play.
was some nasty damage onto the Hachiman, forcing him to back very, very early as this duo side tier 2 tower is falling extremely quickly with only 3 of the members on it. Just the Izanami was enough to shred through it, but she's
Izanami's all you need.
Yeah, and now Honkler is going to find out just how much damage she does. Just a couple autos doing quite a big number on her. Emoja throwing out her bubbles in the portal to adventure, forcing him in, and we will see a bees coming out from the Kepri.
I've realized there is a
Oh, no,
5
that
level
wasn't
lead
beads.
between the ADCs here.
Kepri does not beads. That was that bubble? Oh, it was bubble. Okay, I was like, wait a minute. I saw it come out. What was the cleanse? Nope, it was bubble. I'm just blind, chat. We see an early Rivers beat coming out to defend this T2 tower on the solo side, and it will be the Kepri who pops Scarab's Blessing to try and survive. We do see the ultimates coming out being traded quite early this time to try and defend the
Such an
T2 tower.
awkward Emojul to only catch the Kepri.
Definitely very awkward, but it's the Discordi who did so much damage to the backline. Kustoki able to just blink in and take out Giannis. He will not be lasting any longer. And with his actual blink still up, because Kwang 1 does exist, he has really solid engage, and he can just continue to dive the backline since Discordi can just reach over the tanks, drop that Strife, and your health bar is just gone.
I'm definitely liking the mid lane change here from the Rockhoppers. From away from that Raijin. Granted, there are 2 different players, but
Purbang is definitely looking pretty good about right now. Definitely very, very solid change up. Overall, though, it has been such a drastic change from game number 1. What do you think changed from the Rockhoppers, obviously besides the mid laner, that caused such a drastic change?
Toki definitely looks more comfortable on something that is not a Guardian. He didn't look comfortable on the Cthulhu. And Giannis just isn't getting that snowball lead he ran with last game. Because at 6 minutes last game, he had 5 kills and was just already 2 levels ahead. He did not get the luxury this time.
We see Icy Orphan taking out a double kill out of that huge gank, and he'll find a triple on the Glacium Vulpes. Literally just a 1v3. That is very, very bad for the Frost Foxes. They just took 3 deaths in very quick succession. It's only the tanks left, and they are charging down the left lane Phoenix. It's not going to last very long. This Izanami is already level 20, and she is just going to be chunking through that Phoenix. It won't be able to survive very long. Not even Nike's going to be able to do much, especially once a Frenzy gets popped by the Capri.
That's a
Sam
free
Cobra
Phoenix.
yes, Sam Cobra just giving Izanami even more shred. And with still a few more seconds until the rest of the team pops back up, with minions this time, the Frost Foxes are not going to be able to defend this T2, or excuse me, mid lane Phoenix. And Rage Moose will be the first one to fall after popping River's Rebuke. We see Golden Apples of Discord not on the mark once again, but it doesn't matter. He has more than enough damage with that Strife. Beautiful artillery coming up. And it will be enough to buy them the time to just go ahead and back off. They got 2 Phoenixes. They didn't lose anybody. They didn't even have Fire Giant. They can
No, those
afford
were
to just back, reset, and fight for fire.
I'm gonna take this gold Fury, and then they should reset with all that gold in their pockets and group up at fire.
The Frost Foxes will appear to be on top of it first, though. Kuzutoki is over in the area code with his friend Sam Cobra. But I don't know. 2 people against the entire team of Frost Foxes, with the exception of Enraged Moose. They are definitely going to be putting out quite a bit of damage. They're just going to have to be careful of Kuzutoki. If they're able to get that before the rest of them show up, Hunkler does pick up Sam Cobra, but now they got to start playing a little bit more careful as the rest of the team is coming in. Icy Orphan is ready to do some damage, but both the Ravana and the Nike getting on some damage onto her. Kuzutoki will end up responding onto Giannis. Beautiful kill from him. Golden Apple of Discord off the mark. Icy Orphan will end up picking up Josh the Landlord, and now Kuzutoki is going to be low HP.
I wondered if Persephone meant to dash in. She dashed forward and kind of
No,
just.
there's no shot. I don't think she meant to jump in.
Sometimes you just dash at 3 people, I guess.
No, you know what? He was just asserting dominance. That's what it was.
That's what it was.
He does
Yes.
not care. He's asserting dominance. He wanted to prove that he was there and he had the bigger schlong, I guess.
Yeah, no.
But
I
the
mean,
Rockhoppers, regardless of the previous statement, have the Fire Giant now. So, with their already impressive lead, they're now up almost 18k gold. They're going to be very dangerous. Only 1 Phoenix remains. They're going to be able to just shove down the solo side, take out the last remaining Phoenix, and just end.
let's hope it goes that smoothly. I've seen too many games lost where they have this big old lead, then they get too cocky, and they just lose the whole game.
I'm getting a little bit of Season 3 vibes. Enemy versus Soar. Anybody remember that game?
Yes. Sad
If only
days.
it were so simple to just end the game.
Yeah. Ending is
Turns
hard.
Turns into a 50-minute arena game. But the siege for the Phoenix is on. Kepri starting off with the pluck onto the Nike Rivers. Be coming out a little bit early. Persephone ult does catch a little bit of damage, and we see Skib's Blessing coming out, saving a very low HP Icy Orphan. He will be able to escape. Joshua Landlord will end up picking up Sam Cobra as we see Giannis pick up Kumi Boomy in the back line. That's a lot of damage and a great defense for the Frost Foxes. Perbang still getting out some of his own damage, but he's not going to want to stay to fight that.
See, ending is hard.
And what were we just saying? That was a beautiful Yamota ult though, and it is the first death for that Obelix. That Obelix was looking mighty scary, but now that she has 1 death on her belt, maybe
Not
it
so
will be
scary
enough
anymore.
to give them the confidence. We'll just have to see. Will the Frost Foxes be able to continue that defense, or was that just a lucky one-off type of thing? They do have Fire Giant off of 2 members of the Rockhoppers, but
It's still on this
Ice
isn't on.
Orphan still has it. Icy Orphan doing a lot. Perbang does still have it. Toki still has it.
Like
A lot of the
Toki can
damage
still
here
do
has
it.
it.
I feel like Toki could still do some structure damage. With that
Even
build.
without it, yeah. I mean, that's also just Kwong being Kwong. Though once again, the siege will be starting up for the Phoenix. This time, for the duo side Phoenix, we see a Golden Apple of Discord popping out a little bit early, but some big crits coming out from Icy Orphan will do a lot. Enough to force Honkler to back up as we see Frenzy and Rivers will be popped up. And it will be Icy Orphan who picks up the next kill on Neglacian Volpez. Scarab's Blessing saving the life of Icy Orphan once again. And he will be able to survive. Kustoki will end up getting the kill onto Josh the Landlord with the Execute. And he will be diving right back in onto that Umoja, and Raging Moose will end up falling. And that's now a 0 for 3 trade so far for the Rockhoppers. They're chasing right down into the Titan's Lair, and it will be Icy Orphan who ends up picking up a Giannis. He's not able to one-tap that ADC this time around, and Honkler will fall extremely quickly. Kumi Boomy will be the one to get the credit for that kill, be a deicide, and a dead Titan for the Frost Foxes.
Both these games have been snowballs. I kind of want a good close game.
That was definitely a much more powerful showing from the Rockhoppers. They're a little bit upset after that game one. They want to bring it back, and I think they did that pretty well. But we'll check and see just how much will it change. Icy Orphan coming in with 27k player damage. Those are some big numbers.
The Rockhoppers definitely placed a lot of wards. 16 from the solo laner, 10 from the mid laner, 10 from the support.
This is the first time in a while I've seen the most words coming up from the solo. Very odd. I mean, when you're Kwong solo, that's nothing wrong, but oh well. We'll just have to see how it will go in game number 3 as we take a brief little intermission while we get things set up for you.
Like casting's new. Here we are, game 3.
What an introduction. Hello and welcome
All
everybody
right.
back to Kraken Smite Season 4, week number 1. This is going to be game number 3 of the Rockhoppers going against the Frost Foxes. Thank you for joining us back. We're ready to get this action brought right back to you. Unfortunately, we aren't going to have picks and bans for you on this case because Lobby had to be remade, and you know, Smite just doesn't like that, so we'll be switching
like
it up tonight.
Moose and Vulpes have changed rules for this game. Let's hope something better happens.
Maybe they'll have a little bit better luck this time. Though they don't have the best of luck with the purple buff, as they accidentally drop it a little bit too early. Definitely not the best feeling, as we see Icy Orphan and Sandcobra getting some early pressure in the duel lane now with a Hoyi and the Emoja. Beautiful pull right back in, but that would the knock up onto the Hoyi into the Emoja portal sends him careening back away. A perfect PO coming out from Moose. As we see Hoyi just jumping in, no fear on him. He will pop beads to get out
Oh,
of
one
that
more
knockup.
auto. Oh, he
And he will
sneaks it in there.
sneaks it through. And Glacian Vulpes will be the first blood of this match. That was a great out. He threaded the needle.
I love how
Honestly.
Sam Cobra's like, you know what? Your emoji game was unimpressive last game. Let me show you this.
Although we do see Giannis on the Nemesis taking quite a hefty amount of damage after he tries to rotate over to Duo. Kumi Boomy taking a little bit more charge this time.
Interestingly enough, the Sam Cobra decided to go with Benevolence this game instead of the usual Sentinel's Gift or Watcher's Gift or whatever it's called. I don't. They changed the name so much.
Sentinels is the base.
Is it? That's what I thought.
Just healing up to the max, I guess.
Yeah.
Emoji heals.
He needs all the healing numbers.
Who needs to peel if your team just heals everything?
Exactly.
Don't make a difference. But it's fine. I mean, they have a Zhang in solo with mannequins. It's fine. It's fine. They have Zhang solo with mannequins up against an RDO. Nobody's worried about it.
No.
Though this time Honkler is opting for the Tainted Steel. Trying to shut down the healing from that Zhang. We do see Giannis in the area code though, ready to gank him if he steps up. But looks like they're just going to start off with the blue invade as he does blink in. Going in real hard. He does not want production. Can we focus on Giannis, please? We
They,
just controlled.
Yeah. No, we didn't get to see that. Production sucks. Can we get a new production man,
Giannis
please?
did end up getting a kill onto Kustoki, but Kustoki will respond with a kill of his own onto Giannis. Actually, production, you did not reset your client, did you? That's probably why. Oh, Lord. We have just been trolled. So I'm gonna apologize to you, chat, right now. It's gonna be a little bit of a more patchy casts time in this game number 3, but I'll still try and bring the very best to you. I hope you guys still enjoy it. It's always our mission to make sure you guys enjoy our casts. Hopefully the VOD review is also enjoyable as well. Pie guy, nothing to add?
No, definitely enjoyable pleasures. I would love to rewatch this and listen to your voice talk over everything.
You say that just because you don't want to be the one talking.
Oh, 100%. No. I'm usually production or behind the camera.
But behind the camera is production.
Exactly. But some people get them confused. It's okay.
Interesting. Anyway, going back to the action. The thing that I find the most interesting out of the builds, aside from the mannequins Zhang solo, I do love the difference in the support builds this time.
I definitely, but I like Benevolence. I like the new one that actually heals you. I think it's good. Just the extra gold you're getting from Sentinel's Gift can
It
kind
is
of
a
put
lot.
somebody behind.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a big obstacle to overcome. It's quite the hurdle to jump through as we see a big fight breaking out over by the Oracles. We see a Yumoji getting a little bit greedy. River's Rebuke had been popped and the chase is on, but the portal gets him out as we see Golden Apples of Discord go right onto Josh the Landlord. He's going to be now down to half HP with low mana. He's going to have to pay back in soon.
Icy Orphan's got a level lead yet again. Is this 3 games in a row where he's pulled a lead over the opposing ADC?
Icy Orphan is definitely a solid ADC. He has been, yeah, I think you're right. He has had a lead every single game so far. Except this time he's going up against Enraged Moose, who very quickly caught back up in the level, so it's about half a level difference in favor of Icy Orphan. Will he be able to make up for it? Or will he start snowballing? What do you think, Mr. Pie? Do you think he will be able to keep up?
I don't. It's Jing Wei, so it should be. It's like buying TP in the solo lane. You kind of just. You
True.
shouldn't really miss minions. So, in theory, you should usually be even or ahead on Jing Wei just because of her passive. But
We
Icy
see a big
Orphan's
fight
just.
breaking out over the Fire Giant Scorpion. Sorry to cut you off. We see a very low HP Zhang. He will end up getting the kill onto Giannis, but not after Nem ult comes out. Josh Allen will end up picking up the kill onto Kostoki as we see a big fight now breaking out onto the Kali. We see Ardu getting very, very low, and it will in fact be 11 Kumi Bumi. His ult is enough to survive. Kali, not quite easy to take down. They will get the Fireside Scorpion, though fortunately for the Rockhoppers, they are able to invade red buff and some extra Harpy XP farm. They're going to go ahead and get that Chad Harpy on the duo side. Drugger is up. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go right there.
Oh, definitely not. They've got pressure in dual lane with 2 of them there. I also like this Hou build. He's straying away from that Dev Gods into Aussie with the Death Soul starter. He's gone Leather Cow with a Crusher. He's looking to just poke that Jingwei, just out damage him.
He does certainly have the pressure, so he can absolutely afford to do it. And we see him doing pretty much just that. He does still have that level lead on the Jingwei. Jingwei is slowly catching up, making a little bit of progress. It'll just take a little bit of time to get there. Do see it being pretty even in the mid lane. Soul lane is very similar. RDO slightly behind in XP compared to Kustoki. But in the jungle, Kumibumi is a level up. And in the support, Sam Cobra is a level up on the Frost Foxes here.
How do you feel about Purbang going back to this disco? Like, I feel like he did good enough last game to play it again, but is that like the depths of his god pool is just disco? Or do you like disco
Disco
into this
one
team
trick?
comp?
Question mark. I mean, Disco's fine. Disco is safe. It's consistent. Did miss some golden apples of Discord last game, but still had more than enough damage to make up for it.
I'm just interested to see what the bans are like if Tiamat was open or some of the other higher picked mid laners.
Yeah, we do see quite a scuffle breaking out in the lane. River's Rebuke being popped to try and catch off guard the Frost Foxes, but it won't be quite enough. But Landlord does live, and Kumibumi is also alive. Still low HP on both of them. The solos working again. Kostoki will start off by popping that ult, but Giannis will end up getting the credit for the kill on Kostoki. We see Nemesis popping the ult just to try and survive. Kumibumi will have to jump out and escape to safety. Purbang doing a little bit of peeling for him, as now the ADCs are here to continue the fight. But it will be just Landlord who lives and just backs off. He wants to go ahead and get that red buff, but the Frost Foxes want that Gold Fury. They do have the Oracles on the side of the Rockhoppers, so they know that it's there. The knowledge of the pull is there, but it will actually be enough to get them to back off. They aren't going to be aggressing it too much.
I feel like they did it just to see the. It's like the 911 reaction time. Like, how fast are people going to show up?
That's fair. Just checking how quickly do they react to it, seeing what they're going to do if you start pulling it. Definitely good patience and discipline coming up from the Rockhoppers, though. They recognized it and they waited until they all backed, and now they're pulling the Gold Fury. Frost Foxes aren't very close. They're going to have to rush in the dual lane to pick it up, but
Well, they
it
dropped
won't
it.
be enough.
There we go.
They did drop it, but not in time. And it will be the Frost Foxes who do get a kill on Kumi Boomy, but the Rockhoppers got the gold.
Foxes are going to trade out the Pyromancer here. Jonk, we couldn't quite steal it away.
Oh, I apologize, chat. I need a lot of water for this. Very, very sorry. I'm awfully thirsty doing casts. Oh, this talking is drying up my throat.
Gotta stay hydrated.
Exactly, bro. See? Pie knows.
Yes.
I don't have the little reminder from Twitch chat to stay hydrated, so gotta keep up on it on my own, you know?
How inconsiderate of them.
That's what I'm saying. Rude. Got that hydrate button. Except it's in my head. We do see Icy Orphan getting out a lot of damage onto the EDC over in the dual lane, though. Moose is going to have to back off, but he's still Jingwei. He can just fly right back. Scuffle breaking out in solo, though. We see Artio chasing down the Zhonghui. Kostoki taking a little bit of damage, but Honkler not having mana. We do see a blink in from Kumibumi, and it's going to be a big engagement now. Artio is on his own with no mana. Honkler is going to be taking a lot of damage really quickly. He won't be able to survive that.
Jonk drops the ult. Just
He drops the ult, and then he drops Honkler.
yeah, no, that's
Counter rotation coming out to the dual lane, though. Frost Foxes want to take out this Hou-Yi, because we do see him pop his ult, but so does them. But he's doing a lot of damage. It'll take just a Landlord to show up to save Giannis's life.
a good rotation. There were 3 people over in solo lane for the Rockhoppers, so that's glad to see the Frost Foxes move over to the other side of the map to gain some pressure on that side.
Just take what you can get, you know? They will also take that tier 1 tower, but with the Rockhoppers in the area code, they're going to have to be careful. River's Rebuke will come out a little bit early, catching them off guard. Sylvanas is now in a bad spot. Glacian Volpe is taking a lot of damage. Golden Apples of Discord and Sam Corp will end up getting a kill onto him. And now, the Rockhoppers got a good kill. They returned it pretty well. Nem is here to continue the fight, though. Will it be enough? Unfortunately, the Rockhoppers are able to get out rather efficiently. So the Frost Foxes are just going to have to take what they got and leave before it gets too late.
Never feels good to just dump 2 ults and only kill the support, though. Like, at least they walked away with something, but you drop River's Rebuke and Golden Apple just for Sylvanas.
Those are amateur numbers. They need to ult 3 times just to pick.
Yes, you need to drop all 5 ults to kill the Sylvanas. He's that good. That much of a detriment to your team.
You gotta beads that one, man. It's so dangerous, you know? That root is, it's pretty FTCC.
Oh yeah.
Although, speaking of CC, we see a lot of people picking up beads, but one thing I did find interesting was look at that relic on Glacium Volpes. That's not a beads, it's not a blink, and it's not Sunder.
It's meditation.
It's a meditation, yeah.
I'm a big fan of meditation. I get yelled at all the time for buying it, but I I like the relic. I think it's good, especially upgraded when it's reducing your cooldowns. You can't convince me less time on your cooldowns isn't good.
And just the simple fact that it's paired up with a Sylvanas, that's a lot of lane pressure, and you're going to be able to sustain really well with it.
It definitely keeps you in that early game. Those early game lane tussles.
Speaking of lane tussles, Kumu Bowman picking up just a Landlord in the mid lane, and now popping ult to try and survive the counter rotation. He does have that oboe proccing, but it's only a tier 2 oboe, so Giannis will end up picking up the kill on Kumu Boomy.
How
We
do you
do
feel
see-
about crit collie? I personally don't like crit
I
collies,
didn't want to
but
talk about it.
no,
I'll be
I'm
honest,
not.
I didn't
I'm
want to address it.
definitely not a fan.
I didn't want to acknowledge its existence.
I was hoping if I just didn't say anything long enough, it would go away, but unfortunately, he didn't just decide to sell it. So
I find it interesting that he's only keeping it at the tier 2 oboe. But speaking of not going away, this team fight is not done just yet. Zhang will end up trying to pop beads or trying to escape, but it will be enraged. Musu picks up Toki. And with that Gold Fury being back up and alive, Frost Foxes are going to be looking right for it. And it's an Oni Fury too. It's definitely going to be a very important pickup. He has also popped the meditation. So
yeah,
his team having those nice and healthy HP bars, especially with that RDO, they're going to be able to continue this fight. Golden Apples of Discord will be coming out. They're going to try and secure it. Frost Foxes will get the Oni Fury. But it'll be Perbang who kills Glacian Volpes. The support will fall once more.
but support for a Gold Fury is not a bad trade.
No, by no means is it bad.
All the ultimates are down for the Rockhoppers now, and all you really dropped in that Gold Fury fight was I don't even think they dropped Sylvanas ult. I think it was just down from a prior engagement.
No, you're right. You're right. It had already been dropped. Considering that it's almost up already. And he only has 10% CDR. Definitely a good trade for the Frost Foxes. It does get them in. Plus, that's also Oni Fury. So wave pressure will also be handy. And especially since they're down still in gold by what, 1500? Every little bit
Just
will help.
about, yeah.
Yeah, and they're chasing down Yamojo once more. Sam Crubber being caught out, less than quarter HP, just jumping away, trying to escape. It will be Perbang who has to peel for him instead. Mid lane peeling for the support. Now the Frost Foxes are going to go ahead and drop out that Pyromancer. No more.
Gonna take the Scorpion here, get themselves some enhanced buffs. Just kind of fall back and farm while everyone's just chilling on the map. Hoyi's gonna be split pushing over here.
I mean, that's just what you assume from an ADC though. You know?
We have not seen a lot of activity in these dual laners, these ADC players in the last 2 games. They've kind of just sat in their lane until about 20, 22 minutes. Then they'll go impact the map.
Yeah, that's how you play ADC. Just split push all game.
Yeah, 100%. I'm surprised they're not picking Kronos or someone.
Soul. Well, Soul was also mid lane, so.
Kingway's gonna pick up the oracles here. Maybe, there we go.
Dropped it just like that purple buff. Man, they got a habit of doing that so far, huh?
Oh, definitely got some butterfingers here. Habit of dropping things. Although, Icy Orphan does not have a lead right now.
This is true. Moose has been power farming to the max. He's actually a little bit ahead in XP. Although, we were talking about it, we do see the Devourer's Gauntlet coming out from the Jingwei. I mean, this time it is an arrow, but still. We have Dev Gauntlet into Wind Demon to an Executioner to what I'm assuming is going to end up being a Deathbringer.
Oh, definitely. Jingwei definitely benefits from the crit build really well, obviously. But I want to see more sustain, maybe? I don't know. I really like Aussie. It just feels good to have. As they fight around this fire giant pit here. Nobody's really contested. staying
Speaking
on
of
the objective.
congestion, it will be Kumibumi who ends up picking up the first kill, but it will be a return coming out from Giannis who picks out Kumibumi. Only Josh the Landlord has fallen, 1 for 2 so far, and now they're going to clear out those wards on Fire Giant. Frost Foxes are definitely in a good situation. Per Bang will end up falling as well. It's now a 1v3. Sam Cobra is going to have to back his 2 HP. Icy Orphan is the only one alive able to fight this right now, but it won't be enough. Frost Foxes are going to go ahead and pull that Fire Giant. Unfortunately, Icy's not going to be able to do a whole lot here in this situation.
Not without ult or. I guess he does have both relics, but I don't think he steps up to even try to steal it.
So will be a Fire Giant secured for the Frost Foxes. They're going to be able to use this to just go ahead and take out some of those remaining towers, like the Soulside Tier 1. Definitely never a bad thing to just use fire to wipe out all the towers.
Oh, definitely not. That adds a lot of gold to your pocket. Allows you to finish up your items, upgrade your relics, maybe by a pot or two.
And it gives you an excuse to buy more wards.
Wards are overrated. You don't need wards.
Okay.
Speaking of wards, can we
Ignore
see
that.
the ward count?
A little bit of a mix this time, although Kumibumi with only 3 wards, 21 minutes into the game, feels bad.
Disappointing. I think he only placed 5 last game.
I mean, he does have ward in his pocket, but he hasn't placed it yet, even though he's been around the corners of mid multiple times so far.
He seems like the kind of guy that holds onto the wards. That way, when your team says we need wards, you're like, I have one, but he never places it. He just kind of sits there in his pocket, just to say he has a ward.
See, normally I'll buy wards frequently, and then I just forget to place them.
It happens.
It just happens, man. Gotta say, I am one of those people, I will admit. We'll see how it ends up turning out, though, as we see the next fight brewing around the gold side of mid lane.
I like how Josh the Landlord has picked up a Chalice of the Oracle.
We don't question Josh.
Nope,
He does
nope.
what he wants. We do see Sam Cobra getting extremely low and up following 2 Enraged Moose. He would be the first pick of this fight. And now the Gold Fury is going to be on the roster. Just a normal Gold Fury 22 minutes in, but it's still going to be some extra gold in pocket. Very quick secure for the Frost Foxes.
Going to expand their gold lead up to about 3,000. A little under. 28.
Which
Looks
is
like they're
great
high.
for them since they didn't have a lead this entire game. Now they're going to be shoving down the duo side tier 2 tower. Kumibumi doing a little bit of a Kali split push in the mid lane, interestingly enough. But, I mean, Frost Foxes do still have Fire Giant on 4 of their 5 members. That's a lot of extra power around their belts. They're just going to go ahead and be able to wipe out the remaining tower. Or towers, I should say.
I feel like they can put up a soft defense on these towers. They don't necessarily have to give them up. They're not super behind. I mean, I guess Merlin has 4 levels on Disco. But Jean-Qui's ahead, and so is Kumibumi of their oppositions. I feel like they could take a fight, but they don't want to full commit, because if you lose that fight, it's game.
And speaking of, Moose will end up getting a kill onto Kumibumi. And that will be a Pyromancer for the Frost Foxes. Now that they already have the Kali out of the way, they're going to have a little bit more pressure and freedom to roam around the map and take some fights. The pings do come out. They want to try and catch Icy Orphan out of position, but he is able to jump back underneath that tower. So solo side tier 2 tower will be disappearing very quickly.
They give tower aggro to Nemesis?
It's fine. Nemesis can tank it.
Yeah, Nemesis is totally tanky.
I mean, Nemesis has stone cutting. It's fine. She got this.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Tank Nem. OP. Please nerf. 300
Alright.
reach negation. 5 minutes in.
Eyes on this mid tower here.
Mid T2 tower is next up on the roster, but without Fire Giant, Frost Foxes aren't going to be able to clear it nearly as quickly. Rockhoppers not putting up much of a defense for it though, just a lone emoji kind of throwing out some bubbles at them. But that
Those
little
scary
water
bubbles.
that water is not going to be enough to move these boulders.
I still think they could have soft defended either of those towers. I don't think they're far enough behind where it's like, oh god, we don't want to touch them or look at them. I feel like it's fightable.
The only one that's behind is the mid laner too.
Which definitely doesn't feel good, but she's doing damage numbers. I mean, she's third on her team and fourth overall in damage numbers. Like, she's 3k ahead of the Merlin, who's got 4 levels on her.
Very, very true. Definitely tells me that Merlin has been doing a lot more farming rather than fighting though. And with the next fire giant spawning, that will be extra damage for them.
I'm not going to complain, though. A late game Merlin still does Merlin things, regardless if he goes into the late game with 0 player damage or goes in with 40,000. He's still going to hurt.
He does swing pretty heavily.
He also picked up the alternate timeline.
Doesn't want to die.
No, it's fair. Are they just going to give up this fire giant? The Rockhoppers aren't even on that side of the map.
And there isn't even a gold fury to trade for it either. All 5 members are alive, but they're not contesting it in the slightest.
Oh, you see that Team 1 tower there? They want that tower.
That tier 1 tower that looks like a chess piece.
Yeah, that one. That's their
Yeah,
goal. They're going to 5-man push for that T1 tower in duo lane. They're going to trade a
they're gonna
Phoenix
get the
for it.
Joker at least. At least they get Draugr. That's the good news.
I don't know if any of them get back in time to actually... No, they will.
They do in fact get there in
Oh,
time.
Holly just
Kamizumi
got
will pop a very early
erased.
ult after getting dealt a massive amount of damage, and it will be Glacian Lopez who picks him out, gets the final kill credit onto that. As you see, Hou Yi ulting in as well. Zhang is now popping his ult to try and chase down this low HP Honkler. And the rest of his team is peeling from as best as they can, just dipping, taking whatever healing they can get from this Sylvanas, and it will be Icy who picks up the Moose, excuse me. Giannis and Josh will also both get a kill, and that is now going to be a 1 for 3 trade so far for the Frost Foxes. They're going to be continuing to pressure down this solo side Phoenix. But with some low HP bars, they don't have quite as much pressure as they once did, but they do still have Sylvanas. They have more than enough healing to make up for it.
It feels
Now
bad
they're
that
gonna
your
be
one the one you traded out was Moose. The person who's going to do all your structure damage is the one person that happened to die that push.
Very unfortunate. They did still get the Phoenix though, at least.
They did. That they did.
So, props to them. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to quite take it in too many fights, so they're going to opt for the Primal Fury. And the Rockhoppers just aren't anywhere near. They're not going to be able to contest this one.
I feel like they're at that point now where they don't contest Gold Furies. It's not really worth it. Unless maybe an Oni Fury, but definitely don't want to see him stepping up and dying for a Primal Fury this late in the game. Because unfortunately, one team wipe for the Frost Foxes ends the game. The Rockhoppers, I think they need 1, maybe 2 team wipes to actually end this game.
It will definitely take a little bit more time since there are still towers standing. That, I think, is going to be very crucial. Frost Foxes having the Phoenix down, massive.
Oh, they can just walk right in there after a good fight on their part and just end the game. The Rockhoppers have to go through at least a T2 tower and a Phoenix. They can pick their lane. It really doesn't matter. But that's the least they have to go through to try to end the game.
Definitely will take a little bit more out of them. Being 15-9, 29 minutes in, Frost Foxes definitely putting themselves in a good position. They are up 10k gold, though the gold isn't quite as big a deal at this point in the game. It's all about those spots now.
So the
But they do
Rockhoppers
still
are
have-
just trying to...
Yeah, they do still have items finished up though, so that definitely gives them a nice big advantage over the Rockhoppers as they're sieging down the duo side Phoenix. And as the fight begins, it'll start off with a little bit of poke coming out from Discordia onto Honkler. He's taking a little bit of damage, but he's still RDO with a Sylvanas in his pocket. He does not have to worry about that much.
Oh, definitely. He's got the upgraded meditation too, so whenever they get aggressed on, Just pop that med. Everyone's just gonna throw abilities. Just gonna get them right back up. River's Butte coming out here.
Saw Golden Apples of Discord also popped, and we see a Kumi Boom coming in from the backline is also going to be popping his ult to try and survive, but it won't be enough to get a kill. He's going to be forced to retreat. Strife coming out from Discord is some great peel and damage, but now Kostoki is all alone. He's taking a massive amount of crit damage from Enraged Moose. They're going to be forced to back off. The Rockhoppers not able to continue that defense much longer. But
Did
now
you
the
see?
Frostfoxes keep going.
Did you see Enraged Moose crit Kumi Boomy for 2 while he was in his ult? That was great.
I did see that. What a wonderful game, huh?
Oh yeah, looks like the Frost
Would've
Fox is gonna fall back and take Pyromancer real quick.
Would have been nice if it was a 667 crit, but you know.
Not a big Weekend fan.
Most people aren't. Still a funny story. Great meme.
It is a great meme. Definitely a great meme. Everyone's gonna back up here. They should finish their items, maybe upgrade to Relic, buy some wards, get ready for the next Fire Giant fight. It will be enhanced Fire Giant this time around, so
Yeah, very true. It's definitely going to be a much more important fight.
I definitely do not want to see the Rockhoppers give this one up.
I believe that's why they have so many people pushing up the duo side right now, just trying to clear out minions as much as they can so they don't have to worry about that pressure for as long as possible. The Frost Foxes are already on top of that Fire Giant with a couple members. The last one's just closing in now. They're going to be able to collapse on this unsuspecting Toki, and the Kali is going to be forced to run away. Kumi Bumi and Toki in a lot of trouble. They're going to be taking a lot of damage. Both of their ults be popped early. Josh and Lin will end up picking up Toki, and it will now be a race to the finish for Kumi Bumi, but he is not able to pick up a kill. Enraged Moose will finalize his coffin sealed away.
The Discorder ulted really early.
That was a very early Golden Apple of Discord, and Hongler just took it like a champ, and now Purbang is in a lot of trouble. We have all 5 members of the Frost Foxes with the Fire Giant buff being advanced Fire Giant at that. They're just going to be racing it down. They do still have a Phoenix down in the duo lane. Solo side, Phoenix half HP. They got a healthy ADC, excuse me. They're going to be able to shred that thing with or
Oh
without
yeah,
minions.
no,
They're just going
that's
to run it
definitely a
down.
game.
Yeah,
No,
the Titan,
there's no
Titan's
reason they don't
there.
end here. Hoyi has ult, but I don't think it. Oh, never mind. Hoyi doesn't matter. He's irrelevant, and that's game.
Oh, he just got obliterated, and the Titan is falling quickly. And Red Drew's picking up a double kill onto Sam Cripple, and it will be the Titan who ends up falling in game number 3. Frost Foxes picking up the final victory that they needed to seal the set in their favor.
It was definitely a closer game than the other two have been, but still wasn't as close of a game as I like to watch. I like to watch those games where everyone's on the edge of their seat, like back and forth Phoenix sieges. Definitely not these one-sided stomps.
Game 3 was still relatively even, though, at least considering the previous 2 games.
Yes, no, it was definitely closer.
I like to think it was still an exciting set. And seeing in game number 1, the Frost Foxes showing up very, very loud and proud. Game number 2, a great snapback coming out from the. Excuse me. My tongue just stopped functioning. I'm sorry. Rockhoppers just coming in with a strong retort in game number 2, and then game number 3 being still a really solid game overall. Nobody was necessarily out of it at any point, at least until the very end.
Oh, it's definitely an interesting set to watch. It was the first set of week 1. I like to. I don't. Some of these builds are a little interesting to me, but like
Are
this.
you looking at the Nem build?
No, I'm looking at the Jean-Qui build with the Mannequin's
Well,
Hidden Blade.
we don't talk about the Zhang build. We're not talking about the Zhang build. That's why I'm looking at the Nemesis.
Yeah, no.
Just a pen.
The crit Kali, he never finished that oboe, by the way. Never finished it.
Never finish.
Nope, it's still T2 to this day.
Man's just never had gold.
Yeah, no, just couldn't finish it.
That man would have bought a 3K pot before he finished oboe. Unfortunately. Well, I still think it was very, very exciting. That was a fantastic set. Definitely a great way to kick off week number 1. This has been the Frost Foxes versus the Rockhounds. I had a lot of fun. I was your host, Jiren Lamb. I was joined by the cutest, the bestest, Mr. Pie Guy.
It was an honor.
And once again, huge shout out to Mr. C Neptune on the camera. Always appreciate our production. They do great work for us. Couldn't do it without them, quite literally. Thank you so much. And thank you, chat, joining us all for this wonderful set. I had a lot of fun doing it. I hope you did too. And we will see you all next time. Unfortunately, we don't have a interview for you tonight, but hopefully next time we'll be able to bring some more enjoyable content for you. We do have more sets planned for the following week. We actually have a couple of games coming out tomorrow night. We hope to see you there.